Hey everyone, I'm Laura Adams. Welcome to the Money Girl Podcast. I'm a leading personal finance and small business expert and award-winning author. My latest title, Money Smart Solopreneur, a personal finance system for freelancers, entrepreneurs, and side hustlers, might be my favorite because I'm also a solopreneur. This podcast is for everyone seeking financial education, guidance, and very practical, here's what to do right now type of advice. We have college students all the way up to pre-retirees listening to this show, asking questions, and improving their financial lives. So I'm really glad you're here. My goal is to empower you to live a healthy and rich life by making the most of what you already have, planning for the future, and making smart money decisions every single day. It's a marathon, not a sprint when it comes to building wealth. I hope you're doing well. I am so excited to be heading out on a road trip this week, taking a little vacation. It's my first one really since the beginning of the pandemic. And we're going to talk about traveling today. So I want to thank you for joining me this week. As a financial expert, spokesperson, and speaker, I spent a lot of time creating content, helping select brands take their message to the media, and making appearances to educate audiences. I've been writing and hosting Money Girl since 2008, which actually seems like 100 years ago when we're talking about digital media. This show is an outpouring of my passion for financial literacy, wellness, and independence. If that's your jam, or you really want it to be your jam, that's what we're going to explore every episode, either as a solo cast, just me and you, or an interview with an expert guest. And if you have not been to quickanddirtytips.com yet, that's where you're going to find the full show notes for every podcast. It's like a full blog post. If I mention a resource here or you want to dive deeper on any financial topic, all you need to do is look for the Money Girl section at quickanddirtytips.com. This is episode number 683 called Big Money Saving Benefits of Travel Insurance. And before we get started, I just want to remind you that new episodes get released every Wednesday. So if you're not subscribed, be sure you do that so you don't miss an episode. And I also have a quick favor to ask. If you've been enjoying the podcast, please rate and review it on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. That's the best way to give back because it really means a lot to me and it means a lot for the success of the show. Also, I want to connect with you on social media. I'm getting a lot more active these days on Instagram, so please follow me there at Laura D. Adams. All right, let's get to today's topic. As I mentioned, if you're like me, you are ready to start traveling again. And maybe you love the idea of getting out, but you're a little worried right now that your plans could backfire due to a pandemic-related issue or maybe some other unforeseen mishaps. If that's you, I definitely think it's time that you learn more about travel insurance. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Having the protection of a travel policy can be the ticket to help you feel confident about chasing some adventure this year. And while you might be thinking, well, Laura, doesn't that seem like an unnecessary expense or kind of a luxury? I want to tell you that I have found it to be surprisingly affordable. And this podcast is going to explain the benefits of travel insurance. I'll give you some tips for buying the best policy and when purchasing travel insurance makes financial sense. Once you understand its significant benefits, you might never skip travel insurance again. So let's start out talking about what exactly it is. And it's an often overlooked coverage that you can customize based on things like where you're going, the risks you face along the journey, and your personal circumstances. It's kind of like car insurance in that it's a bundle of individual coverages that you can customize, as I mentioned. And it can protect you from various situations, ranging from, something that's just an inconvenience, like losing your luggage or getting stranded due to bad weather, all the way up to having a life-threatening medical emergency that requires an airlift to the nearest hospital. So I want to go through 5 things that travel insurance covers so you kind of get the range of coverage that's possible. And the bottom line is it's all about having peace of mind and saving money when some unexpected expenses pop up during a trip. So let's go through 5 coverages that can make travel insurance a very wise purchase that actually enhances your vacation. So the first coverage is luggage coverage. If you have missing, delayed, or damaged luggage, if that's ever happened to you on a trip, you know what a damper that will put on your vacation. I mean, that could be incredibly unnerving and, maybe even dangerous if you've got things that you really need in that luggage. Of course, you want to make sure that you're taking medications and anything that you really, really need, take that on a flight or on your transportation with you. But this coverage will reimburse you for any lost items, and it also pays a daily amount if you've got to purchase essentials. So, if you've got to go out and buy toiletries and clothes and just a lot of different things that you might need until your luggage arrives, or, maybe it's completely damaged and lost and you never get it back. If you have homeowners insurance or renter's insurance, that does give you a certain amount of off-premises coverage for damaged or stolen items. But travel insurance pays for the inconvenience that you go through while you're on vacation, and it will also cover things that are not covered by your homeowner's insurance or your renter's insurance policy. All right, the second coverage you get is trip cancellation coverage. When you book a vacation requiring prepayment, having trip cancellation protects you from not getting a full refund or being charged additional fees if you've got to cancel the trip. This coverage allows you to cancel for covered reasons, such as poor health, changes in your work schedule, a death in your family, or bad weather at your destination. You want to read the fine print and make sure that you understand exactly what is covered. It's not going to cover like everything, but I will give you a solution for that in just a moment. All right, the third coverage you get is trip interruption coverage. This is if you begin a vacation, but you find out that you got to return home for covered reasons. In that case, you will be reimbursed for the unused portion of your trip. So that could include changes in your work schedule, the death of a family member back home, or medical issues. Interruption coverage also includes any additional travel expenses that you might incur if you got to get home at the last minute. It may cover meals and hotel stays if your trip gets delayed, or you miss critical transportation connections for any reason. Now, if you want to make sure that you could pull the plug on a trip before you go or once you're already on the trip, most travel insurers offer a cancel for any reason policy. Now, this may cost a little more, but it is definitely worthwhile if you suspect that you or anyone in your family traveling with you could need to return home in the middle of a prepaid vacation. The fourth coverage you get is medical coverage. If you've never gotten sick on a trip, consider yourself very lucky. It can definitely ruin a vacation. If you're traveling abroad, you want to make sure that you know what would happen if you got into an accident or you came down with an illness. Unfortunately, most health insurance plans, including Medicare, offer no or very minimal coverage when you're outside the United States. So you want to check your health plan and make sure you understand the cost you'd have to pay. The medical coverage you get with travel insurance is a very smart way to fill your health insurance gaps when you leave the country or even when you travel outside your existing insurance network. Remember that when you go outside of the network, you typically have to pay much more. A travel policy would cover new illnesses, emergencies, and just routine care that you need. If you purchase it far enough in advance of your trip, a policy may cover any pre-existing health conditions that you have. And if you travel to at-risk countries or you plan to do any extreme sports, medical travel coverage may cost more, but it's a must. You never want to hide any potential dangers from a travel insurance company. If they find out that you were dishonest at the time you purchased the policy, they could deny your claims. All right, the fifth thing that travel insurance covers is emergency evacuations. This is if you have a severe medical illness or injury and you need emergency transportation to the nearest hospital or to get back home. This could cost literally tens of thousands of dollars if you do not have it covered under travel insurance. And evacuation is typically not covered by a regular health plan or Medicare. An evacuation may be part of travel medical coverage, or you may need to select it as a separate option. So be sure to read the terms carefully and choose policies that give you the most inclusions for the lowest price. Again, all of these coverages are typically customizable. So if you don't need luggage insurance, let's say, but you want the medical coverage, you can get it. When you're ready to plan your next trip, do your homework by checking out some travel insurance reviews. I think expertinsurancereviews.com is a great place to start. And as I previously mentioned, many policies require you to purchase a plan at least 2 weeks in advance. So don't wait until the last minute to start shopping. Not all travel insurers offer the same protections, so it's really smart to get quotes from at least 2 or 3 companies. You might consider shopping at these travel insurance companies. There's Allianz Travel, Travel Guard, TravelX Insurance, Travel Insured International, Travel Safe, CSAA Travel, and April Travel Insurance. And in the show notes, I'm going to put links to all of these with also some reviews there that you can link through and check out. All right, now let's say that you are ready to purchase travel insurance. Let's talk about some tips to find the best policy for your vacation. So let's say you've done your homework, you've checked out some different travel insurance companies. Let's talk about some tips to help you find the best insurance for your vacation. You definitely have just got to plan your trip early. That's a huge tip. Now, I know you might score a last-minute deal on a flight or a cruise. Yeah, that's possible. But you should not delay shopping for and purchasing travel insurance. Getting a policy more than 21 days from your departure date may make you eligible for some specific options, such as a cancel for any reason provision or a waiver of pre-existing health conditions. Another tip is always to compare multiple policies. Travel insurance comparison sites such as travelinsurance.com give you an easy way to search, compare, and purchase a policy from a top insurance company. That allows you to make an apples-to-apples comparison and find the best price for the exact same coverages. Also, check out a group travel policy. If you are traveling with a group of 10 or more people, buying group travel insurance can be quite cost-effective. In general, it does not factor in your age, so that allows an 80-year-old traveler to pay the same rate as a 30-year-old. That can make a group policy much more affordable, especially for seniors. And evaluate annual travel insurance. If you travel frequently, you want to consider that a single trip plan can cost about half the price of a yearly package. So if you plan to take over 2 major trips a year, you're going to get a lot more value from annual travel insurance. And lastly, consider your upfront costs. The more you have to prepay for a vacation, the more you could lose if a trip doesn't go as planned, or you have to cut it short for work or family obligations. I'm taking a road trip, as I mentioned this week, and, I don't have any prepaid costs associated with that trip, so I'm not buying travel insurance for this vacation. But if I were going to Europe or I were taking a bigger trip, even like a group trip, a cruise, something like that, I would definitely be purchasing travel insurance, and I hope to do that very soon. I'd love to know what questions you have about travel insurance or other types of insurance. You can leave a voicemail by calling 302-364-0308. You can always send me an email using my contact page at lauradadams.com. That's also where you'll find more about me, my work, books, and online courses. That's all for now. I'll talk to you next week. Until then, here's to living a richer life. Money Girl is produced by the audio wizard Steve Rickyberg with editorial support from Beata Santora. If you've been enjoying the podcast, again, it would mean the world to me if you would rate and review the show. And don't forget about the backlist episodes and show notes that are always available at quickanddirtytips.com.